I have a very simple question. Why people eat so much and think little?
I don't know this answer, poet. I only know we have to subscribe this channel.
Well, friends, today we will talk about dreams and reality. In India, they say pizza come quicker than ambulance. We faces numerous crises. The maximum people of India till today didn't vaccinized. But every Indian people have a beautiful story and he or she has a beautiful smile. So I am telling a story about India that is a very real story, and that story may be magical. A resident of Thane received a phone call from health authorities. That resident is a corona survivor. He cured recently. When he received that telephone, then health authorities are saying him that you please come to our office and collect your death certificate. But that man is still alive, and that is the spirit and buzzword of India. We are alive, we are spirited, but the politics, economy, and the organizations who have the enormous power, who ruled us, they treat us like a dead man. That is the irony and conflict of India and third world. So, to understand this story, we have to listen another thing. That is why we are facing this crisis. Let's have a look towards our economy. Petrol and diesel prices are increasing lot. In Mumbai, petrol crossed century. In Delhi, petrol scored century. In today's Alipurdwar, West Bengal, in West Bengal's Alipurdwar, petrol reached century. So when the petrol and diesel prices are increasing, we all know that every commodity price will be increased by that decision. From 2020's December to 2021's July, petrol prices has been increased by 250 rupees. What a irony, when all the people, when all the world and all the country are facing the numerous crises, when this epidemic is looming large, when every people in India and when maximum people in India are losing their job, losing their incomes, in that scenario, the petrol prices are increasing. So we are facing a enormous crisis. The bread earner who can earn a pittance of money is facing that crisis. How he could survive if petrol price and diesel price will increase that way? But central government has an answer. They are saying that due to corona crisis, government have to spend a lot of money. So so they are trying to bring back that money for further spending to implement cess on by implementing cess on petrol. That is a nice logic, but that logic suits for an accountant. That logic is not made for government. Government is not an accountant. We have to understand that. An accountant can say this: I spend this type of money, so I have to bring back that money. But a government is not accountant, and that is the tragedy of new liberal politics, creating numerous governments to accountant. New liberal politics, governments are becoming accountant. That is our problem. And from this problem, what is the way out? In this crisis of corona, we understand a thing, that when political parties have failed to tackle this situation, when every institution is failing to tackle this situation, numerous social organizations are very much apt. They are very much willing to tackle this situation. In here, I told some examples like Para Samonnoy Mancho. Para Samonnoy Mancho is a concept of local body. You can create a WhatsApp group of para somonnoy moncho in your locality who is facing severe crisis, not only the crisis of poverty but also the crisis of mental illness. When you look at him, you talk with him, or you give some facilities to him, then he will cured, and she will cured by your endeavor. That is called para somonnoy moncho. Not only para somonnoy moncho, red volunteers are doing very good work in West Bengal. In some cases, green volunteers are doing very good work in West Bengal. In Delhi, in Delhi Youth Congress created for corona patients. But there is a but prevails. Why this but? Because these organizations are not state. State has an enormous power, but the organization have very little amount of power. So there is also a conflict. In India, state has enormous power, but unfortunately, people are not getting every benefit from the state. But small powers are working good, but they have not the capacity to deliver all the things. So there is a conflict. From this conflict, we can understand the feelings of Romarola. From this conflict, we can understand the beautifulness of Indian stories, how Indian people combat this conflict by stories. So let's come to the let's come first. Once Romarola said a beautiful thing, that I am sitting on a watchtower, I am a thankless soldier, I am shouting from there, but no one paying respect to me. No one paying respect to me, and all the words are vanishing in the air. That is a very tragic words of Romarola, one of the greatest philosopher, writer. But I will say that no, your words are not vanished in the air. Your words gives us the power, gives new generation the power to understand and develop new concepts. In India, these new concepts are told by stories. Here I will portray a story of Bibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay. He is one of the greatest story writer of Bengali language. This Drobomoyir Kashibash is one of my favorite one of my favorite of Bibhuti's stories. One of my favorite story. In that story, Drobomoyi, a middle-aged woman, lives in hinterland of Bengal. He get a chance to travel Kashi for his mental solace. After reaching the Kashi, Drobomoyi, by the weather of Kashi, what is going on here? Drobomoyi is not a communist. Drobomoyi is a believer. She is not an atheist. But in Kashi, he understood that in the name of religion, a business is going on. She rejected that business. She always suffered by a suffocation, and he always suffered by a suffocation. She always remembered her localities. She always remembered that in her locality there is a beautiful religion. So in that story, Bibhuti Bhushan told us another episode of India, that a common people like Drobomoyi is very much against of profit orientism. So today's conflict is that an enormous giant is coming towards us. That giant's name is profit, and people are fighting against that. That is the main vast conflict of today's India. So here I stop today. I hope you are watching this program very much. You tell your honest opinion about that, and don't forget to subscribe this channel. and subscribe all the suffering voice of YouTube and all the new voices of YouTube. Okay, goodbye. Have a nice day.